envelope kayo, paano niya kung siya ay isang makaraniwang may bahay, hindi nagtatrabaho, paano niya ibabudget yung sweldong binigay ninyo? Magpasalamat kayo kung marunong siyang mag-budget. Sapagkat pagkakasya niya yon hanggang sa dumating ulit ang payday ninyo. Ngayon, wala bang ginagawa ang mga babae? Marami. Kailangan ba ninyong abusuhin ng mga babae? Hindi. Sapagkat kung wala sila, hindi kayo magiging matagumpay sa inyong profesyon also. Behind every man's success is a wonderful woman. Tatandaan ninyo yan. Kung hindi maunawain, kung hindi magaling, kung hindi mahayos ang inyong mga asawa, kayo ay hindi magtatagumpay sa inyong mga profesyon sa buhay. Now, children, ang dami-daming mga bata na sa simula pa lang, akala ninyo nakakatawa pero hindi nakakatawa. Maliit pa yung bata, binubuli na ninyo. Ang dami-daming mga bata, ang bata pag kinakatuwaan ninyo, binubuli ninyo. Bakit? At ganon. Maliit pa yung
ikaw na bata ka, sumusobra ka na, may papaluin ka, ayan, may mumu dyan, ayan,
kung ano-ano nang ginagawa nyo sa bata, bullying na yon. Nilalagay nyo na sa isip ng bata yung takot. Hindi dapat ganon. So, pambubuli na yun, pero akala natin nakakatuwa. Kasi, ang bata ay natatakot natin, but that's very wrong way of bringing up the children, the young children, kasi yung mga maliliit na batang yan, ayan na ang Bombay, ganun, natakot natin. That's wrong. Psychology, tanongin niya kay Dr. Birion, di ako psychologist, pero nakita ko yan. Sa mga apo ko, no, na pagka ginagano, nag-galit ako. At ginawa niya sa bata ba? Nakakatuwa, hindi nakakatuwa, nilalagyan yun ng tasa ng bata. That's not good. So, ito naman dami, ang ito, nega-nega nito, gaganunin nila ako. Nega-nega nito, nakakatuwa lang namin. So remember that. So ang dami-daming mga pangyaring sa buhay. My experiences as a woman who never allowed anyone na ako ay tapak-tapakan, na ako ay ma-abuse, yan ang masasabi ko sa inyong mga babae dito ngayon sa webinar na ito. At sa mga lalaki naman ang masasabi ko, never, never, never abuse any woman. Be that woman is your girlfriend, be that woman is your wife, be that woman is your sister, be that woman is your friend, or whatever. Wag na wag ninyo silang i-abuse, subjected to abuse. And this is one story na talagang witness ako. Magkaibigan kami sa Quezon. Nandito katira ako sa Lucena. May kasama akong isang teacher din. Boyfriend pa lang Boyfriend pa lang, inabuso na siya. Bakit? Pumunta kami noon sa dito sa Makiling, kasama siya. Tapos, kasama namin yung assistant superintendent of the school, ng Quezon, kasi doon kami nakatira. Pagdating namin dito sa Makiling, nagalit yung boyfriend niya sa kanya, nakitang-kita ko, hinila siya sa buhok. Hinila siya sa buhok na gano'n. Tapos, bumalik sa kotse yung yung kaibigan ko na, sabi ko, inano ka ng boyfriend mo, hinila ka, hindi ka lumaban. Umiiyak lang siya. Sabi ko, ang tanga-tanga mo. Kung ako yun, sisipain ko yun Doon mismo sa pag-aari niya, sisipain ko siya para matauhan siya. Umiyak-iyak lang, hindi man lang lumaban. Girlfriend pala, inaabuso ka na, pumapayag ka. Paano pa pag naging asawa ka? So very wrong. So women, we should fight. Para yung si Rose Parks. Tama ba ako, Dr. Birion, si Rose Parks? Yung black woman na pinatatayo ng mga white dahil siya ay hindi dapat maupo dahil mga white lang nakaupo. And she remained seated and she fought for what she believed was her right. At ito ang naging umpisa ng pakikilaban para sa karapatan ng mga may kulay, lalo na ng kababaihan. So, wag nating hayaan na tayo ay maabuso. Wag natin, kahit wala itong batas na to, lalo na ngayong mayroong batas na to, maging mapag-obserba tayo sa mga pang-aabuso na yan. At wag nating hayaang ito ay magpatuloy. So I don't know how I inspired you, no? Pero sabi inspirational, I can only think of inspiring you by telling you stories related to myself and related to other women I know na pwedeng maging basihan ng aral, na pwede ninyong makunan ng lesson for you women not to be abused and for you men not to abuse women. So with that, thank you very much at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amalia Colarin Rosales, for that message that truly inspired us all. We are all filled up with insightful messages from our top officials. Also, please allow me to acknowledge the presence of the following: Barangay officials, Women Help Desk from Taysan, Batangas, City Social Welfare and Development employees and social workers of Taguig City, Barangay Affairs Office staff and personnel Taguig City, Taguig City Administration, Women's Desk PNP Taguig, Gender and Development staff, Municipal Social Welfare and Development Office of Taysan, Batangas, the former head of Regional Haven for Women. Good morning, sir, ma'am. We will now proceed to the highlight of today's activity. And to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, may we call on Mr. Robert Cruz.
Sir, nakamute po kayo, sir. Sir Robert, nakamute po kayo.
Good. Hello. Okay. Let's go back now. Thank you, Ms. Judy. Good afternoon to you all, human rights advocate. My name is Robert. I'm currently enrolled at Taguig City University, taking up a public master in public administration. You know, I am lucky by chance. Having this kind of opportunity to introduce inspired speakers really overwhelming to me. It is wonderful to have people where we can access when someone needs help, especially the women and children who suffered from hatred, violated and abused by their own rider. Today, the chance has arrived to hear something could help stop this unhuman treatment. Our speaker graduated in Bachelor of Arts in Psychology at the Philippine Christian University, Manila. She also graduated in Bachelor of Science in Social Work at Asian Social Institute, Manila, a registered social worker and registered psychometrician. She gained masteral units in Master of Education in Psychology at Philippine Christian University, Manila. Former Center Psychologist at Regional Haven for Women and Girls from 2001 to 2010. Worked as social worker at Regional Haven for Women and Girls from 2011 to 2017 and was transferred to Protective Services Division of Department of Social Welfare Development as Field Officer for -A from 2017 to 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the officer in charge, Head of Regional Haven Women's for Girls, Ms. Leia M. Perez.
Hello, good morning po. Naririnig
Morning
po
po.
ba?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. Maraming salamat po sa pag-i-introduce sa akin ni Sir Robert Cruz. And before I start, I would like to greet ang Taguig City University a silver anniversary. Tama po ba ako? Happy 50th anniversary. Tama po ba ako? Opo. And I would like also to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Birion and Dr. Rosales and Dr. Jimenez. I would like to thank Dr. Birion for setting the tone. Ang ganda nung kanyang introduction pagdating doon sa history ng feminism. At least na-set yung tone natin pagdating sa mga usapin ng karapatan ng kababaihan. And na-inspire ako doon sa inspirational message ni Dr. Amalia Colarin Rosales. Kasi sa kanya ko narinig yun na dapat hindi na tinatanggal yung middle name ng mga married. So buti na lang sa presentation ko, nilagay ko din yung aking middle name. So thank you for that sharing, Dr. Rosales. And personal ng kanyang sharing, sinasabi na si Dr. Rosales ay talaga ngayon ay advocate ng women empowerment. Okay, and I would like also to greet all those participants from the DSWD. Can I mention yung aming kasama, mga kabaro no, sa DSWD, the CSWDO of Taguig, and the MSWDO of Taysan. And I would like also to acknowledge the DSWD and TSB on the National Training School for Boys. And of course, I would like to acknowledge Arda Mayla Gatchalian. Ang alam ko sa Taguig City University, mas kilala si Ma'am Arda as Doc Arda. Tama po ba ako? Or Doc Myla, sorry. Opo. Pero sa amin po sa DSWD 4A, mas use kaming tawagin siya ng Arda. Meaning, Assistant Regional Director for Administration. Alam niyo naman sa government na mahilig tayo sa abbreviation. No, so Arda Myla, so allow me to call kasi medyo sanay ako sa kanya na ganon yung tawag. Okay? Sige, let's start na. Allow me to share my screen. Nakikita po ba yung screen?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. I am tasked by Arda Myla to discuss the response and initiative to address the VAUC, particularly the DSWD during the COVID-19, as we acknowledge the pandemic, as we acknowledge the VAUC as the shadow pandemic. Okay, so paki-chat lang po kapag medyo humihina yung aking signal kasi nasa probinsya kami. So medyo mahina rin yung aming connection sometimes. So before I will start, let me present first the outline of presentation. So number one, yung ating pong legal basis, we will share with you some of the international instrument and of course the national laws. Dr. Birion mentioned some of the laws here in the Philippines. So siguro i-rundown na lang natin to. And of course, the number two, yung ano ba yung mandato ng DSWD sa pagtugon dito sa ating mga sektor ng kabataan at sektor ng kababaihan. Number three, i-check po natin ang statistical data. Ano na ba ang status, ano na ba ang data ng mga survivors natin ng VAUC. Ang amin pong sources ay nakuha po namin, of course, sa DSWD Central Office, from the Commission on Human Rights, and a research output from the selected student of Miriam College. Ito na yung number 4, we will try to present to you ano ba yung mga ginagawa. Paano ba nagre-respond ang DSWD to address the VAUC during the pandemic? And of course, since I am from the Regional Haven for Women and Girls, bibigyan po namin kayo ng summary ng aming programa dahil kami ay nagkikater dito sa ating mga survivors ng VAUC. And ano rin yung mga challenges namin and paano namin to tinutugunan lalo ngayon hindi pa tapos ang pandemya, hindi pa natin alam kung kailan matatapos ang pandemya. And last ay yung ating recommendation and call for action. Siguro kasama din lahat dito ng participants, As I check the number of participants who have almost 500 and as Arda told me, karamihan sa mga participants natin ay mga future administrators. I would like also to acknowledge the effort of the student of Masters in Public Administrations and faculty. Sige. Okay, this slide shows the legal basis. Let us first review the international law. Particular dito ang mga familiar lang na mga law na na pinaguhugutan ng mga batas natin ngayon dito sa Philippines. And I think Dr. Birion and Dr. Rosales ay familiar na rin dito sa mga batas na ito. Re-reviewin lang po natin sila kasi this was already mentioned kanina. No? Number 1, o yung Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Ito yung binanggit kanina ni Dr. Birion. Ang pronunciation dito, pag nasa ibang bansa ka daw, it's CEDAW. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, pwede din siyang banggitin at CEDAW or CEDAW. The CEDAW is described as the International Bill of Rights for Women, and it was ratified by 189 states. So 189 states, kasama po dyan ang Philippines. Opo. At karamihan po sa batas natin dito, tama yun, yung mga policy, yung guidelines, the RA 9262, ito yung pinaghugutan, yung provisions ng CEDAW. And as part of the monitoring, all of the 89 states na sumali dito o nag-ratify sa CEDAW ay obliged to submit the National Accomplishment Report. This has been to be submitted annually to the UN General Assembly. Okay, number 2, international instrument ay yung Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. It is defined as a landmark document advancing the rights of women and gender equality worldwide, which was happened in 1995. This was also ratified by 189 states, no? So somehow, lahat ng miyembro ng Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action ay eto rin yung mga miyembro ng CEDAW or ng UN General Assembly. What is unique in Beijing Declaration, they identified in their platform the 12 critical area of concerns pagdating sa women. So if you would like to check those 12 critical area, pwede po ninyong i-check doon sa website nila. Kasama dito, of course, yung VAUSI, yung Women on Health, Women on Education, and marami pang iba. Those are 12 critical areas. And last na international instrument natin for women ay yung Putra Hajara Declaration and Program of Action on the Advances of Women. Sabi dito, it enlists concrete actions that will promote women empowerment, development, and peace. No? The Putra Hajara, ito po ay isang bansa, isang city, isang lugar sa Malaysia. Padalawa daw po ito sa Kuala Lumpur, yung capital ng Malaysia, isa sa pinakamalaki na lugar sa Malaysia. What is unique in Putra Hajara Declaration, ang karamihan po sa miyembro nito, almost 120 states na kasama po yung Pilipinas. Ang mga members po nito ay include sila sa NAM o yung NAM, Non-Aligned Movement Group. Ito yung mga countries na ang description nila ay mga developing countries. And most of the group or members ng Putra Hajara Declaration ay kasama din doon sa UN General Assembly na nag-ratify ng CEDAW. So, may kanya-kanya silang distinction, pero meron din silang isang objective lang. Itong tatlong instrument ng sa mga kababaihan, isa lang yung pinaglalaban nila, no? Yung karapatan ng mga kababaihan, pati na rin ng mga kabataan. So, ito po yung tatlong pinaguhugutan nating mga international instrument. So, dahil sino yung ating topic, titingnan din natin kung ano ba yung international instrument for the children. Of course, alam nyo na to, the UNCRC o yung United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. So ito rin yung Biblia ng Pilipinas sa paggawa ng mga batas at polisiya para sa ating mga kabataan. Ang sabi dito, it is an international agreement, no, setting out the right, the political right, social, cultural, and regardless the race, religion, or abilities. Adopted din ito ng UN General Assembly in 1989. And of course, as part ng compliance ng ating bansa, ang Pilipinas, nag-create tayo ng programa which we called the Child 21. Narinig na po ba natin yung Child 21? Oo, medyo
Parang hindi pa po.
hindi pa po. Oo, ito yung brief description niya. Pakisabi lang po kung medyo mabilis kasi yung legal basis natin, some of those are na-explain na ni Dr. Birion, kaya nira-rundown na lang natin. Yung Child 21, ito yung response ng Philippines sa UN, sa provision ng UNCRC. No, ito yung Philippine National Strategic Framework for the Development of Children from the year 2000 to 2025. So meron pa tayong ilang years pa. Today is 2021, so 4 years pa, no? A strategic framework for planning and intervention to promote and safeguard the rights of Filipino children. So dito sa Child 21 po, halos lahat ng government agency ay kaakibat para matugunan natin, no, yung pangangailangan ng mga kabataan. Kasama dito of course ang DSWD, ang DOJ, ang DOH, DepEd, siguro ang CHED na rin, kasi kasama iyon sa development rights ng mga bata. Okay, medyo naghang po. So pagkatapos nating tignan, no, yung international instrument, ngayon isa-isahin naman natin yung mga batas dito sa Pilipinas. No, para sa kababaihan, of course, ang pinakasikat yung RA 9262. This was already discussed by Dr. Birion and at the same time ni Dr. Rosales. Ito rin yung pinaguhugutan karamihan, no, ng ating mga VAUC survivors. The next law ay yung Republic Act 8353, an act expanding the definition of the crime of rape, reclassifying to crime against a person. Before po kasi, in 1936, in the revised penal code, ang sexual abuse and rape was classified as crime against chastity. When we say crime against chastity, ka-level niya lang in the matter of punishment ang concubinage, adultery. No, when we say crime against a person, ang ka-level na niya in terms of punishment ay kidnapping and homicide. So maganda to, magandang development ito pagdating doon sa pagpopromote, no, ng karapatan ng mga kababaihan. And the RA 9208, pasensya na kayo, medyo maraming numero to, no? Pag RA talaga, puro numero eh. No, RA 9208, as amended by RA 10364, known as the Expanded Anti-Trafficking Act or Against Person Act of 2003, sorry. Bakit in-expand yung anti-trafficking or anti-human trafficking? Before kasi, ang pangalan lang ng RA 9262 ay anti-human trafficking, walang expanded, no? Bakit nag-e-expand? Kasi nag-expand na rin yung scope ng trafficking. Before, pag sinabing human trafficking, ang form lang niya ay sexual exploitation or prostitution. Pero dahil nag-e-expand na rin ang mga violators, ang perpetrators, no? When we say nag-e-expand, narinig na ba natin yung organ selling? Nagbebenta ng parts ng katawan?
Yes po.
Yes, it is part of human trafficking. And ngayon, dahil online na lahat, pati yung yung online sexual exploitation, have you heard about the OSEC or the online sexual exploitation to children? So dumadami na rin, no? Nakikisabay sila sa trend, no, ng technology. Nakakalungkot nga kasi isa po doon sa description, no, ng isang lawyer, ang mga violators daw, ang mga perpetrators ng trafficking ay one step forward ahead sa atin, sa mga makers ng policy. So parang nakakalungkot kasi mas advanced silang mag-isip, no? That is why mabuti na lang may mga ganitong activity, no, na nag-a-advocate tayo para labanan yung mga ganitong klase ng mga krimen. Next po ay yung RA 6950 o yung Anti-Mail Order Bride of 1999. This is an act declared unlawful practice matching Filipino women for marriage to foreign national. Totoo po ito, hindi po ito telenovela. Nangyayari po talaga ito. Actually, meron kaming naging isang case nito. Na-entrap lang siya sa Commission on Filipino Overseas, isang government agency din siya. During the deliberation and assessment, nalaman na siya ay lilipad ng Korea para magpakasal sa isang Koreano na hindi niya pa nakikita, no, kahit isang beses. So nakita ng nagde-deliberate or nag-a-assess sa kanya na isa pala siya doon sa biktima ng mail order bride. May tanong po ba or mabilis po ba?
Okay lang
po.
Okay.
Okay lang,
Next.
ma'am.
Okay. Na ang next po natin na yung RA 8505. Ito po yung Rape Victim Assistance and Protection Act of 1998. Ito pong RA 8505 ay inuutusan ang ahensya ng gobyerno, particular the DSWD, na mag-create ng Rape Crisis Center. Opo. Kasi before, nung wala pa itong RA 8505, pag nagsumbong yung isang survivor ng rape or sexual abuse, wala siyang choice kundi bumalik sa bahay or makitira sa iba, sa kamag-anak, sa kaibigan. So that is why this act was created at meron ng shelter, no? Meron ng dapat puntahan yung ating mga survivors ng sexual abuse. And ito yung sinasabi kanina ni Dr. Berio, no? Yung RA 9710, Magna Carta of Women. Ito po yung local translation natin ng CEDAW. Later po, titignan natin kung ano yung mga prohibitions ng Magna Carta of Women. And ito yung medyo mainit-init pa, yung RA 11313 o yung Safe Spaces Act. Kanina nga na-realize ko yung sharing ni Dr. Rosales, no? Parang dito siya pasok na. Kung may RA 11313 na last that year, siguro ito yung pwedeng isampa niyang kaso. Ito yung anti-bastos law. 2019 lang to na sign ng ating presidente. And yung RA 7877 on the Anti-Harassment Act of 1995. So familiar naman na tayo dito pag sinabing anti-harassment, pwede itong mangyari sa school, sa training center, pwede rin sa church. No, so yun po. To continue, tingnan din natin, silipin din po natin yung national laws para naman sa mga kabataan. No, of course, number 1 yung Presidential Decree 603 or Child and Youth Welfare Code. No? Pag naririnig niyo po yung Presidential Decree, sino po yung naaalala natin?
Marcos po.
Yan, si Marcos. Very good. Oo, pag Presidential Decree si Marcos. Pero hindi po ako nangangampanya, bawal po yun sa atin as government worker. No, yung Presidential Decree 603 Child and Youth Welfare Code. Ito rin yung mga pinaguhugutan ng mga batas sa ngayon no, itong PV 603. And of course, yung very well known na RA 7610, ito yung an act providing protection against child abuse. And RA 9775, which is the anti-child pornography law. What is the difference between the child pornography and kanina sa anti-trafficking? No? So child pornography kasi, ang output kasi dito, pwede rin silang gamitin, no, as sex symbol sa mga printed materials. For example, sa tabloid, sa magazine. No? So hindi kasi saklaw yun ng trafficking. No? Kaya nag-create ng sariling batas ang child pornography. Okay. I-share ko din siguro yung other women-related laws and initiatives. The RA 6949. ang highlight nito ay yung declaring March 8 as National Women's Day. So, sineselebrate po natin yan every March. Lahat ng LGUs and lahat ng government agencies, pati ang mga schools and universities. RA 6725, an act is strengthening the prohibitions on employment against women. Sorry, hindi ko nakikita yung nasa right side. Women with respect to terms and condition of employment. So ito yun sa isa sa pinakamagandang batas no para sa mga kababaihan pagdating sa employment. Kasi before, 'di ba, ang salary ng babae mas mababa kaysa sa salary ng lalaki kahit parehas sila ng posisyon, no? And before, may mga trabaho na hindi inaalaw, no, yung mga babae. For example, pag welding, particular lang din sa mga lalaki. Pero ngayon, because of this act, nawawala na yung ganung discrimination, no? Pag kayang gawin o may skill yung women, pwede siyang ma-employed on that position. Ang hindi ko lang po maintindihan sa ngayon pa ay yung discrimination sa mga sales lady natin, no? Kung nagiging vigilant lang tayo, no, sa mga super malls natin, bakit kailangan nilang magsuot ng mga palda na above the knee? Pwede naman sila magpantalon. So sana isa rin yun sa makita na issue, no, sa ating society. Next po yung RA 11-210. Ito maganda rin to. Act increasing the maternity leave period to 105 days for female workers with an option to extend for an additional 30 days without pay and granting an additional 15 days of mothers na lang yung nababasa ko. Oo. So, before ang pag umanak, 'di ba, yung isang nagtatrabahong babae, ang alam ko 60 days lang siya pwedeng mag-maternity leave. But this RA sinasabi na pwedeng hanggang 105 days and may extension pa with pay pa siya. No, so sa mga plano, may mga planong mag-anak. Next po ay yung ito yung mga initiatives na, no, yung ibang mga development pagdating sa women empowerment. In 1993, na-finalize na ang guidelines for developing and implementing gender-responsive projects and programs through the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women and NEDA. Sige, rundown po natin. 1995, Executive Order number 273 na approve na nung ang pag-adapt ng Philippine Plan for Gender Responsive Development 1995 to 2025. And 2004, na-harmonize na po ang gender and development guidelines. So yung GOD program dapat ay cascaded na siya or ini-implement na ng lahat ng government agencies, even the LGU. If I'm not mistaken po sa ating mga LGUs, meron silang dapat ilagay na 5%, no, na budget pagdating sa GOD programs. Tama po ba ako from our LGUs? You are required to provide at least 5% budget pagdating sa GOD implementation. Sige. Okay, hearing those initiative and laws, let us see ano ba yung mandato ng DSWD. Ang daming batas na no? So tignan natin ano ba talaga ang pinaka-dapat gawin ng DSWD sa pag-respond dito sa ating mga survivors. The DSWD is to develop, to administer, and to implement. No, medyo mahirap siya to develop, administer, and implement a comprehensive program designed to empower the disadvantaged sectors. And which are these sectors? Yung children, women, youth, older person with disabilities, families in crisis or at risk, and communities needing assistance. So napakahirap po ng trabaho ng DSWD National. Ito yung gagawin niya. At alam po natin, pag sinabing disadvantage, ito yung marginalized, no? Sinasabing nasa laylayan talaga ng lipunan. And alam din natin na ang poverty rate ng Philippines ay tumataas. So ngayon kung 111 million tayo, almost nasa based on statistics no, nasa 60 to 70 million pa rin ang poverty rate natin dito sa Philippines o yung poverty threshold. At yun yung mga tao na dapat talaga tinutulungan ng DSWD. No, mahirap siya kung tutuusin, very challenging, pero buti na lang no, meron tayong Local Government Code in 1991. Ito yung sinasabi na isang batas, no? Kung narinig na po natin yung devolution, ito po yun, yung RA 7160. Ano yung highlight nitong RA 7160? Dahil napakabigat ng responsibilidad ng DSWD, ng National DSWD and Regional DSWD, some of the programs were devolved sa LGU. So para mas malapit no sa grassroots, mas mabilis yung access ng mga tao na nangangailangan. Kaya napaka-significant no ng role nito ng LGU para matugunan yung pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Ganun pa man, hindi natatapos doon yung role ng DSWD, ng National DSWD. Kasi although may mga programa na naibaba na sa LGU, kailangan pa rin no, mag-isip ang DSWD national government ng mga programa at syempre kailangan bigyan ng technical assistance yung ating mga LGUs on how to implement this program. And of course, minomonitor din natin yung mga functions nila. No, ito po yung isa din na kung tutuusin, challenging din siya kasi sa dami, no, we have 17 regions in the Philippines. So kahit pasabihin na maliit lang ang Pilipinas, pero marami kasi and mataas yung ating poverty threshold. So hindi siya ganun kadali. Okay. So after hearing those batas, those laws, and the mandates of the DSWD, let's check naman the statistics. Sabi ko po kanina in the introduction, we have three sources no, ng ating statistics. Of course, yung aming DSWD Central Office, yung ating Commission on Human Rights, and yung research output ng selected student of Miriam College. Sige, tignan po natin yung total number of VAUSI cases served by the DSWD per year from 2018 to 2020. Medyo naghahang po yung aking sorry. Okay. So pinapakita po ng ating statistics ng slide ang na-serve ng DSWD. Nationwide po ito, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Yung orange, yun yung 2020, yung middle, yung 2018. Yung medium dark orange, yung 2019, and yung 2020, yung medyo nagba-brown na siya, no? So, kita natin yung trending. Dito pa lang nababasa na natin, no? Kung sino ba yung mga regions na matataas ang data ng violence against women and children. Sabi dito sa analysis, for the year 2018, the regions 1, hindi ko nakikita yung nasa right side, region 12, and Caraga has more number of cases. So, i-check natin ang NCR during 2018 ay may 937. Oo, and region 12, may 54 cases sila, and Caraga meron silang, so parehas na 54 cases. In 2019, for the year 2019, the NCR Region 2, Region 3, Region 4A catered more VAUSI cases in 2019. For the year 2020, ang sabi sa analysis, most of the VAUSI cases daw decrease maliban sa CAR region and sa Region 5 or the Bicol region. So let us see, no, compare natin yung statistics. I would like to reiterate that the data from the DSWD, ito po yung mga cases na nagre-report sa DSWD. So basically, pag hindi ini-report, of course, hindi yan masasama sa tally. No? So yun po yung data natin. May question po ba or later na?
Later po.
Oo.
Thank you.
Siguro, sige po. Siguro mapapansin ninyo, no, na yung ating data sa ARMM, zero siya. Pero to inform you, doon sa Excel file na sinubmit sa amin ng central office, hindi zero yung nakalagay. No? Ang nakalagay doon ay no data. I don't know kung meron po tayong participants from kapatid na Muslim, no? And culturally, alam kasi natin na merong, sinasabi rin kanina ni Dr. Birion, ang ating mga kapatid na Muslim ay meron silang sariling court, no? Sariling law, yun yung Sharia law. So I don't know kung ano yung pagtingin nila dito. Are they required to submit data to the national government or meron silang sariling data nila? So next po ay i-share namin sa inyo yung total served naman per regions. Sige. Based po dito sa statistics, ang top 5 region with highest VAUSI cases, of course, ang laging number 1, no, ang NCR with 2,885. Region 3 or the Central Luzon, meron silang 1,685. Region 10, they have 1,213. Region 9, 1,206. And last ay Region 7. So nasaan dito ang region? Calabarzon, we have 212 and 10 in Mimaropa. So, tignan po natin yung total served per year. Ito yung pinagsama-sama na natin lahat ng excuse me, lahat ng statistics, no? In 2018, the DSWD served a total of 3,771 VAUSI cases. In 2019, we catered 4,241. And in 2020, dito po nag-start ang pandemic. Based on the statistics ng DSWD, we only catered 2,559 cases. So sabi sa analysis, there is a significant decrease of VAUSI cases during 2020 with about 60.33% versus the 2019 cases. Pero let me remind you na ito pong data na ito ay yung mga nagre-report sa DSWD. Of course, at the back of your mind, may sinasabi kayo, paano yung mga hindi nag-report because of the pandemic? Totoo po yun. Maaaring merong mga biktima na hindi nakapag-report because naka-quarantine sila, hindi sila makalabas. So, next slide po. I-share namin sa inyo ang research output ng selected selected student ng Miriam College. Ito po yung pinakita nilang chart o yung statistics. Ang kanilang statistics ay coming po sa Philippine National Police. Sabi dito, kasi itong research na ito, I believe Arda Maila ay ginawa noon sa province of Batangas or the Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office. So kaya medyo na-highlight yung Region 4A nakasama doon sa top 5 regions in the country with the highest incident of gender-based violence. It has a total of 161 gender-based violence cases reported to PNP from March to June 2020 alone, 131 of which are VAUSI cases. No, nung tinitingnan ko naman, yung binalikan ko yung statistics ng DSWD, hindi rin naman siya nagkakalayo, no? Siguro numbers lang, din yung konti lang din yung discrepancy knowing na ito naman ay March to June 2020. And mind you, meron po kasi tayo talagang mga cases na natatala sa PNP pero hindi siya natatala sa DSWD. Bakit nangyayari yon? Kasi there are survivors. For example, ako, I suffered battering, no, from my husband. May times po kasi na ang mga survivors nagde-direct sila sa PNP. Hindi na sila nagre-report sa DSWD. No? That is why kung titignan natin, no, sa mga data, minsan may mga kaunting discrepancy. Because of that, there are survivors naman na nagre-report sila directly sa DSWD and nagpapa-shelter na sila pero hindi sila nagpa-file ng case. That is why hindi sila nare-report sa PNP. Opo. And one of our sources din ng data ay ang Commission on Human Rights. Ito pong accomplishment nila ay from January to June. So ito medyo fresh pa to, mainit-init pa. Kasi wala pa tayong makuhang yung statistics talaga from January this year of 2021 kasi hindi pa nga tapos yung year na 2021 pero at least may mga ganito na pag-aaral yung ibang mga ahensya, no. If we could note in the report of Commission on Human Rights, tignan lang po natin yung 4 na mga kaso na mas na related, no, sa VAU. Una, yung child abuse, mas mataas, no, kita talaga siya physically, ang taas talaga ng statistics ng child abuse. Then rape, and followed by hospital detention. Later po natin i-discuss about hospital detention and yung VAUSI. Those are the 4 cases na i-highlight natin on this statistics. Ito po, sabi ng CHR dun sa kanilang accomplishment report, the crime of rape or sexual abuse remained the second with the greatest number of cases received ng office nila. For the first half of the year, a total of 10 cases were recorded. Sadly, 1 case involved rape with homicide. So nakakalungkot yun, no? Based on statistics, mas mataas pa rin ang RA 7610 o yung sinasabi nating anti-child abuse law. We have 7 in RA 9262 o yung VAUSI, and yung rape and sexual abuse ay we have 10. No, yung rape and abuse kasi kasama din siya dun sa RA 7610. Pero baka dito sa data nila 43 cases on RA 7610 ay ibang offense ang ginawa ng perpetrator, no. Particular lang tayo sa sexual abuse na they catered 10 clients. And yung letter C, the hospital detention, let me read this, kasi ito ay isang parang naging epekto rin ng pandemic. The third highest number of cases for the first semester of 2021 involved hospital detention of women and girls, where the hospital allegedly refused to allow the victims to leave the hospital premises due to unpaid hospital bills. So nakakalungkot, no? One case involved the alleged refusal of the respondent hospital to release the death certificate of the deceased patient, while another involved the refusal of the hospital to release the cadaver of the victim to the family. So this is the one of the impact and effect din ng pandemic, no, particular sa women and children. So i-share lang din namin po yung based doon sa research ng ng Miriam College, elected student of Miriam College. Ano ba yung mga epekto ng COVID-19 talaga sa mga kababaihan at sa mga kabataan? Number one, there was no employment opportunity. So alam natin na during the COVID, ang daming nagsara ng mga opisina, no, ng mga trabaho. Ano yung epekto nito? Nagkaroon tuloy ng increase ng vulnerabilities ang ating mga victim survivors. Kaya nai-involve sila sa mga illegal activities like online sex exploitation and other forms of abuses. Number two, since sabi nga kanina, no, culturally ang mga babae ay dependent, no, before sa mga asawa nila. No, ang anong epekto ng pandemic, no? Mothers are mostly affected by the pandemic by solely dependent on their husband and partners. So ang epekto ng pandemic sa mga kababaihan na walang trabaho. So ang nangyari parang naging submissive na lang sila sa husband nila, no, during those times. Kaya lalo silang naging vulnerable sa abuse. So ang pandemic din ay nakaapekto sa relasyon sa loob ng bahay because of stress, of no work and no income. At itong stress na to, nagtitrigger siya ng quarrel. Of course, syempre pag walang pera sa loob ng bahay, hihingi ng pambili ng bigas o ng pang-ulam, tas walang maibigay. So away na yan. So pag nag-away na, sometimes it result into violent behavior. Magkakasakitan na. Una, nagmumurahan pa lang, no? Sunod, magkakasakitan na. Yung mag-asawa. And ang pandemic din nag-cause ng stress and anxiety that trigger men to commit bawsi. Yun nga, naghingi ng pambili, walang maibigay, nag-away, tapos nagsakitan na, tapos naapektuhan na yung kanilang mga anak kasi pag nag-away na, sige, iwanan na lang kita, uwi na lang ako sa amin, then the resulted to separation. Sino ang mas naaapektuhan dito pag naghihiwalay ang mga magulang? Siyempre, yung mga bata, no? Naa-abandon na sila. Anong nangyayari dito sa mga batang naa-abandon? Sila yung mas vulnerable na maging biktima ng child trafficking and cybercrime. No, kaya kahit pandemic, no, nakakalungkot nga kasi ng mga panahon ng pandemic no 2020 and 2021, bakit meron pa ring mga kabataan na nahuhuli o na-rescue? Considering na naka-ECQ, paano sila nakakalabas? No, so yun yung isa naming nirelay sa mga LGU. Diba dapat walang bata sa kalsada, pero bakit may na-rescue pa rin ng mga minors? Sige, next slide po. The research also presented the gaps and challenges. Ano ba yung mga nakita nilang gaps and challenges during the pandemic? Alam po natin na ang policy sa isang komunidad, sa isang LGU, sa isang agency, sa paggawa ng policy, it should be consultative, diba? May mga consultation with the stakeholders, other agencies, and societies. Pero nung panahon ng pandemic, nawala na yung consultation. Kasi busy na yung lahat ng tao, lahat ng government agencies, mga empleyado, busy sila sa pagtugon sa pandemya. No, nakalimutan na nila, ay oo nga pala, may mga vows, may mga trabaho kami na dapat gampanan para dito sa mga kababaihan. May sinasabi na isang strategy yung online platforms, pero alam natin na medyo hindi rin to effective, no? Kasi we have the GIDA areas sa Philippines, no? Yung GIDA area means yung geographical isolated and disadvantaged area. Ito yung mga lugar na hindi abot ng telepono, hindi abot ng internet connection. So paano na sila? No? So yun yung isang challenge or yung isang gap na nakita ng ating mga researchers ng Miriam College. And yun nga, dahil masyadong talamak, no, yung pag-respond doon sa pandemic, nakalimutan na ng mga VAUSI desk officer, ng mga LGU, na meron pala silang minomonitor na mga VAUSI survivors sa kanilang mga lugar. So iyon yung isa sa nakitang gap during the pandemic. Sige. Another gaps and challenge ay tungkol doon sa monitoring and evaluation. Nung pumutok ang pandemya, wala tayong existing specific online platforms para ma-report ang mga VAUSI. Totoo to, no? Dahil nga masyado nang nag-focus ang mga government agency sa pagtugon sa pandemya, nakalimutan na natin na may mga kababaihan at kabataan na nangangailangan ng under monitoring pa, no, because there were survivors of violence. Nakita rin doon sa research na hindi stable, no, yung programa ng VAUSI during the pandemic. Kaya siguro may maraming mga statistics o mga data o balita na nagsasabi na maraming biktima during the pandemic, kaya lang hindi siya nare-report kasi hindi siya napuntahan. No? There is a delay of reporting and monitoring due to the pandemic kasi may mga mobility issues tayo, no? Kasi may mga lugar na under ECQ, then MECQ, no, ang hirap ng mobilization. And based doon sa result ng research at the barangay level, the lockdown inhibited monitoring. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. For example, ako yung VAUSI desk officer. Meron akong 5 VAUSI cases sa barangay ko. Pero because of pandemic, hindi ko sila ma-monitor. Kumusta na ba sila? Kasi nga, naka-ECQ or maaaring ako din natamaan ng COVID. No? So, yun yung mga panahon na talagang sabihin na nakalimutan or na-neglect, no, yung pag-respond sa mga VAUSI cases natin. Some officers were unable to schedule meetings or visit clients for monitoring kasi nga sila ay nasa quarantine din. So, hearing those gaps and challenges, tignan naman natin yung medyo positibo na strategies, no? Paano ba, ito na yung pinaka-heart ng ating discussion, paano ba ni-respond ng DSWD? Ano yung mga initiative para ma-address yung VAU during the COVID-19? Some of you are familiar dito sa mga programang ito, so ira-rundown na lang din natin. Number 1, ito po yung programa ng DSWD, yung Sustainable Livelihood Program o yung SLP na tinatawag. For everybody's information, ito pong programa ng DSWD ay capability building program siya para sa mga vulnerable and marginalized household. So, by principle, ito po ay ginagather, yung ating mga marginalized o yung mga grupo ng tao sa ating komunidad, and inaalaw silang mag-decide kung ano yung livelihood program na pwede sa kanilang grupo. Sinasabihan sila na mag-submit, no, sa regional office ng DSWD ng mga kinakailangang papel. Then kapag na-assess na ito naman ay feasible and talagang significant para ma-improve yung kanilang livelihoods sa kanila community, binibigyan siya ng kaakibat na ina-approve yung proyekto ay binibigyan ng kaakibat na budget. And of course, dapat sustainable siya, no? Kasi hindi ito yung dole out na sige bahala na kayo diyan, bibigyan kita ng 5,000, bahala ka na. Ito kasi ay pag binigyan sila ng grant, imo-monitor siya ng team from the regional office kung ano na yung progreso ng kanilang proyekto nung after na binigyan sila ng budget. So the project should be sustainable. Number 2, ito po yung AIX, kung tawagin po ng DSWD, yung financial assistance through assistance to individual in crisis situation. Ano po ito? Ito po ay isang programa ng DSWD na nagbibigay ng tulong ng edukasyon, pang-edukasyon, medical, pampalibing, pamasahe, pabalik sa probinsya, at yung maging yung mga probisyon ng pagkain at iba pang mga kagamitan na pangangailangan ng Pilipino na humaharap sa iba't ibang krisis at sakuna. Ito po ay meron din na counterpart ng LGU, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. But the same din yung programa, pupunta sila sa MSWD offices with the needed documents na kailangan nilang isubmit, then i-assess po ng social worker yung pangangailangan, and then ibibigay po yung tama at sapat na halaga, no, na kailangan ng ating kababayan. Number 3, ito po yung pag-involve ng DSWD sa mga advokasya para sa women empowerment. Una po ay yung tinatawag nating MOVE o yung Men Opposed to Vow Everywhere. No, itanong ko lang po, sa Taguig City University po ba ay meron na tayong group of men who are opposing to vow everywhere? Or ngayon lang din siya narinig? Yes po. Oo. Ito pong move na ito ay kinabibilangan, no, ng mga lalaki na ini-aim nila, no, yung grupo nila ay nag-aim na itigil, no, yung pang-aabuso sa mga kababaihan. And the DSWD is very active, no, in this movement. Actually meron pa silang mga parang officers, no, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So siguro I challenge the Taguig City University, if you want to know the program or the objective of this group o yung movement ng DSWD, you can coordinate with the DSWD Field Office 4A through Arda Mahila. Paano bubuuin itong grupo ng kalalakihan para sa pag-oppose ng violence against women. At kung meron man tayong grupo ng mga kalalakihan, meron din tayong grupo ng kababaihan. Ito po yung kalipi, kung tawagin ng DSWD. Meron itong translation ng ating mga local government unit. Ito po naman ay grupo ng mga kababaihan na nag-a-advocate ng karapatan nila, and binibigyan din sila ng opportunity, no, sa mga self-development, skills training, mga livelihood. And sila din yung mga active, no, kung nakikita ko sa mga Facebook ng mga MSWDO, ito yung mga active sa mga pasumba ni Mayor, yan yung mga kalipi members natin. And yung mga kanilang proyekto pagdating sa mga livelihood, sustainable livelihood program para sa mga kababaihan. Next po, number 4, one of the responses din ng DSWD ay yung active participation in the programs of RIAC at VAUSI. Familiar po ba tayo sa RIAC at VAUSI? Siguro some of the participants from the MSWD or CSWD o medyo familiar dito, and other agency, no? Ito yung tinatawag na Regional Interagency Council Against Trafficking and Violence Against Women and Their Children. So interagency siya, may regular meetings ito, no? May monthly and quarterly, and this involves several government agencies and NGOs para for the compliance, no, ng objective na para din sa empowerment ng women natin. So what are those government agency linked dito sa RIAC at VAUSI? Una yung Philippine Statistics Office, DFA, the DepEd, the DOLE, Department of Labor and Employment, the DILG, the PNP, the Philippine Embassies and Consulates, the LGUs, of course co-chaired by DSWD, Commission on Human Rights, NGOs o non-government agency, particular dito yung IJM, kung narinig niyo na, yung International Justice Mission. Ito yung may good partnership with the DSWD. Sila yung partner ng DSWD sa tingin at yung yung data o kung saan ba nangyayari yung pang-aabuso, no? Yung IJM, sila yung may access, no? Kasi ang karamihan ng mga cases ng International Justice Mission ay yung ang mga perpetrators ay from other countries, no? So sila ang nagbibigay ng tips sa mga law enforcement agencies ng Philippines, ng government agency natin, kung saan ba, anong lugar ng Pilipinas mas marami ang nagiging biktima ng cybercrime. And isa pa sa mga NGOs ay yung Visayan Forum. Oo, familiar din ba tayo sa Visayan Forum? Sila din ay tumutulong doon sa mga survivors ng human trafficking. Of course, the Department of Justice. Those agency na ito, sila po yung mga nag-uusap-usap, no? Monthly or quarterly, nagmi-meeting sila, ano na ba yung nangyayari doon sa compliance ng agency nila pagdating doon sa paggampan, no, ng kanilang mga roles para maiwasan ang pang-aabuso sa women and children's sector. And number 5, ito na po yung aming isang programa sa DSWD, yung Center and Residential Care Facilities or the CRCF. Dito na po belong, no, yung ating Regional Haven for Women and Girls. Sabi sa data, there is a total of 64 residential care facilities nationwide. 28 are for children, 16 for youth, 14 for women, 4 for older person, and 2 po para sa mga persons with disability. And these 64 residential care facilities are being managed and funded by the national government, by the DSWD national government. Ano po ba yung center and residential care facilities o yung mas kilala siyang tawagin na shelter homes, no? It provides 24 hours residential care to survivors of different forms of domestic violence. It aims to provide holistic program and services to attain the psychosocial recovery and rehabilitation. So medyo crucial and medyo challenging po ang role ng mga CRCF pagdating sa mga survivors ng domestic violence. Bakit? Kasi kailangan namin silang i-mindset, no? It's 360 degrees ng mindsetting sa kanila. From a victim going to the survivor, no? Minsan dadating sila sa center namin, talagang kita mo pa yung physical marks ng abuse, no? May black eye, bali ang buto, no? Yung mga ganon. So, and of course, yung psychological trauma. Yun yung pinakamabigat, no? Sa pagdating sa paghihil, no? And rehabilitation sa ating mga survivors. Okay, so let me share with you the program. So the very own program of DSWD 4A. Ito po yung Regional Haven for Women and Girls. No? Pasensya na kayo, bubong lang po yung naipakita dyan sa picture, pero later baka may chance tayong makita natin, no? Ano ba yung programa talaga ng RHWG. Okay, ang RHWG po is a center that caters to women and girls who are survivors. Hello? Hello, naririnig po ba ako?
Yes po.
Okay, sige po. Kasi kanina parang medyo may may nagfi-feedback. Sige. Yun, balikan ko, no, ang Regional Haven for Women and Girls is a center that caters to survivors, no. Pag nag-ina kasi sila sa amin, na-admit na sa center, we used to call them survivors para medyo strength-based perspective, na parang positive. Kasi kapag lagi namin silang tatawagin as victim, no, parang napaka-negative, parang wala nang chance to develop. So that is why, pati yung mga terminologies namin, iniiba na rin namin, no, mga nakakapagpalakas ng loob, no? Kaya ang tawag namin sa kanila mga survivors. So, nag-a-admit po kami ng mga 18 and above at saka yung mga girls and yung dependents. When we say dependents, ito po yung mga anak, no? Kung halimbawa, I am a survivor of domestic violence, meron akong 3 anak. Of course, ang culture kasi natin dito sa Philippines, isa pa yun siguro sa mga issues, no? Bakit ang mga survivors or yung mga victims ang umaalis ng bahay? Di ba dapat yung perpetrator ang aalis ng bahay, hindi yung survivor? So isa yun sa dapat tinutugunan din natin. Ang nangyayari, pag nabiktima yung isang babae, siya yung aalis ng bahay, siya yung hahanapan ng shelter. Parang napakasakit tanggapin. Siya yung dapat mag-iwan ng tahanan. Kung tutuusin, siya dapat yung nasa loob ng tahanan. Well, anyway, yun nga, isa po yun sa mga issues na dapat tugunan. So kapag may 3 akong anak, siyempre sa culture natin, lalo ito pag 7 years and below, dapat kasama talaga ng nanay. At pag nakita namin na strength talaga ni women, yung mga anak niya, so kailangan din siyang ma-admit sa center. So yun po yung tinatawag na dependence. Naghang siya ulit. The center accommodates clients aged from 12 to 59 years old or younger if the abuse resulted to early pregnancy. So, totoo po yun, may mga nakikater po kaming mga bata o mas bata pa sa 12 years old na nabubuntis because of sexual abuse, no? Nakakalungkot pero yun po ay realidad. We also cater cases includes incest. No, alam naman natin yung incest, no? Ang incest ay yung ang perpetrator ay may relasyon or blood related doon sa biktima. For example, tatay, lolo, uncle, grandfather, yun yung sinasabing incest. And case category also includes sexual abuse, psychological, physical, and assault, sexual exploitation. So ito yung mga victims natin or survivors natin ng human trafficking, includes but not limited to OSEC and prostitution. Yung OSEC po ay yung online sexual exploitation to children. And in Regional Haven for Women and Girls, we use the gender responsive case management practice model, no? In the improvement of the case management. So pumapasok na itong mga ganitong klaseng strategy or practice model kasi nga we are aiming for a gender sensitive environment. So that is why lahat po ng aming mga staff before sila mag-enter dito, ay kailangan meron silang gender sensitivity training. Kasi kailangan to kasi alam natin na psychologically and emotionally affected, no, yung ating mga survivors. Minsan kapag insensitive ka, sa salita mo pa lang, nakikita na yon, no? Alam natin na minsan may mga judgmental na kaya ka pala nare-rape kasi ang iksi-iksi ng suot mo. So, yun ay pagpapakita na isa kang insensitive. Dapat hindi ka nagja-judge ng ganun. Pag sinabi bang, permiso ba yon ng isang tao na i-abuse niya yung isang babae pag maiksi yung short niya o maiksi yung palda niya? So, hindi naman ganun, no? So, GRCM also focus on the strength base of the survivor. Kasi before, yung mga management ng cases, minsan kailangan mong palabasin yung pagiging vulnerability ng isang kliyente o yung kahinaan niya para ma-eligible siya for a service. But in GRCM, mas pin-highlight namin yung strength-based nung survivor. Ano yung mga kaya niyang gawin para malagpasan yung ganitong klaseng sitwasyon. Okay? So the RHWG also can accommodate referrals from Region 4A or outside the region provided that the case is within the Calabar zone. So basically, karamihan po ng aming mga kliyente ay galing sa Calabar zone region. No? Pero pwede rin po kaming mag-admit ng mga kliyente outside the Calabar zone. Basta yung case origin niya. For example, siya ay taga Visayas, pero lumuwas siya dito, pumunta siya sa province of Rizal, then dito siya naabuso. Pwede po siyang i-refer dito sa amin. Pero part po ng intervention, planning doon sa taga Visayas na kliyente, i-reach out namin yung kanyang family sa Visayas region. Part po yun ng case management. The RHWG caters 30 residents at a time. And we have 13 staff and 3 lady security guards. Sige. Before I proceed to another slide, rinig pa rin po ba ako? Okay po ba yung aking audio?
Yes po.
Yes
Okay.
po.
Okay.
Yes po.
Sige. Kasi ang tahimik ko naman. Sige.
Recording
data
in
from
progress.
2019 hanggang ngayon, 2021. So, kitang-kita po dito sa aming statistics no, sa client serve. We have 77 in the 2020, 50, and 2021 we have only 32 clients served. Ang total po nito ay 159. So mag-e-end na po ang December, mag-e-end na ang November and 1 month na lang, no, ay 2022 na. Hindi namin alam kung masasaya ba kami or lulungkot kami kasi konti lang yung kliyente namin. Kasi dalawa yung pwedeng ibig sabihin nito, di ba? Pag kumonti yung aming admission, ibig sabihin, baka kakaunti na talaga yung naaabuso at humihingi ng tulong sa DSWD, particular sa RHWG. Or pwede rin siyang, baka nga during the pandemic, ay wala talagang way yung ating mga bawsi cases na humingi ng tulong because nga sa pandemic o dun sa quarantine na na-experience natin ngayon. Pero ganun pa man, tuloy pa rin no, yung aming pagbibigay ng serbisyo. Mapa 77 man yung aming kliyente o lumiit man siya into 32%. And I would like to inform the participants na majority po ng aming mga cases ay mga minors. Hindi ko na lang siya naisama sa statistics but based on our study, sa isang taon, no, for example, in 2019, na outnumbered talaga ng mga minor clients namin ang women. So ibig sabihin, pinapakita talaga na mas vulnerable ang ating mga kabataan pagdating sa pang-aabuso, lalong-lalo na sa sexual abuse and sexual exploitation. Opo, dito sa ating case category, yung 2019 yung naka-color blue, 2020 yung yellow, and 2021. During the pandemic, halos wala kaming admission to some of the case category, particular yung acts of lasciviousness and child labor. Pero mataas pa rin ang rate ng trafficking in person in the form of prostitution or yung sexually exploited. Ito po yung mga nag-rescue no, sa mga bar and sa mga resort, no? Karamihan kasi ngayon ang venue na nila ay sa resort. So mataas pa rin ang incest, no, in the 2019, and meron pa rin kaming mga incest and rape cases in the 2020. Sige. Seeing that statistics, no, i-share ko po sa inyo kung ano yung mga programs ng RHWG and challenges and paano po namin yun nalagpasan or paano namin tinugunan at tinutugunan pa this pandemic. Isa sa mga programa ng RHWG yung social services, no? Ang workforce natin dito, of course, yung mga registered social worker. Kumbaga sa traffic, sila yung MMDA, no, yung nagmamando ng mga plano, ng mga intervention plan para sa aming mga residente. From the moment na sila ay ma-refer, ma-admit, no, at ma-discharge, ang mga social workers, ang social services, ang tumututok dito sa mga activities na to. And most of the activities sa social services can be done face-to-face, no? So, pero nung nag-pandemic, ito yung isang pinakamahirap. Kaya nag-adapt din kami doon sa mga virtual case conferences instead of face-to-face. Then nagre-require kami ng yung mga requirements for admission kasi may list of requirements po tayo bago ma-admit ang isang survivor sa ganitong klaseng shelter. No, dapat submitted na siya earlier, no, through email kasi for assessment pa ng social worker. And we also require a negative RT-PCR test for the referred client for admission. So ito yung mga yung mga challenges na namin na kinaharap, no, during the pandemic. Ang hirap, unlike before, kapag ang isang LGU magre-refer sa amin, especially emergency siya. For example, i-rescue yung isang sexually abused sa bahay. So outright yun, dapat yun on the spot kuhanin mo yung bata sa bahay. Pero hindi yun nangyayari during the pandemic. No, kasi kailangan mag-isip, no, challenge din sa mga LGU saan nila to dadalhin kasi nga yung mga shelter na kagaya namin, hindi na kami pwede magtanggap ng outright admission during the pandemic kasi we have to, syempre, to safe keep din naman yung aming mga residente and to ensure their health kasi pag inadmit namin sila outright na walang RT-PCR test, walang mga assessment na ginawa, malalagay din sa alanganin yung aming mga residente. So yun po yung mga challenges pagdating sa social services. Another service is yung psychological. So ang atin pong tao dito ay yung aming registered psychometrician. Siya yung nagbibigay ng mga activities, therapeutic activities sa ating mga kliyente. So ang naging challenge is, syempre hindi na kami maka-accept, no? Parang nagkaroon kasi ng guidelines ng DSWD na i-disallow muna yung visitors and mga volunteers sa pagpasok sa shelter. So, solely puro virtual yung mga nangyayari sa mga volunteers namin na gustong mag-share ng kanilang ideas sa aming mga kliyente. And one of the effect din ng pandemic dahil hindi na nga pinapayagan yung mga visitors, no? Pati yung mga pamilya ng aming mga residente. Before kasi, nung wala pa yung pandemic, pwede silang dalawin ng family nila at least once a week, every Sunday. Pero dahil may pandemic, nawala yun lahat. So we started the e-tawag or yung e-dalaw. Ito yung binibigyan namin ng chance, 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, no? Pwedeng tumawag yung family through phone kung meron sila or through messenger. Yun yung paraan lang namin para kahit papano maibsan yung lungkot nila kasi nga hindi nila nakikita physically yung kanilang family. Opo. Then, of course, kailangan din, binigyan din namin ng mga residente ng mga psychological support. Ano na ba yung mga epekto? Kasi kailangan din nilang malaman kung ano na yung nangyayari sa labas. Kasi nga, wala silang balita. No? Sa amin na lang sila nagdedepende and doon sa, of course, sa news, no? Na binibigyan namin sila ng time na manood ng balita. Another programs and services ng RHWG, yung medical services. We have a registered nurse dito po sa center. Dahil nga sa pandemic, hindi na kami pwedeng lumabas para magpa-check up, especially nung nag-ECQ ang Batangas. No, pero mabuti na lang meron kaming good relationship with hospitals. We have partner hospitals and doctors na pumapayag naman na doon gamitin namin yung teleconsultation. And sa medical service, yung aming 5 adult residents, ni-refer namin sa RHU, and they are all vaccinated with anti-COVID-19. And wino-workout pa namin yung vaccination ng aming 12 to 17 years old. Kasi sa ngayon wala pa na ino-offer ang aming RHU. And in the medical services also, we designated an isolation room for possible COVID-19 cases. Yun po, kapag nagpakita ng simptomas, no, yung kliyente namin, doon namin agad nilalagay sa isolation room. And kapag may mga bagong admission, kahit po sila ay negative na sa RT-PCR test, they are required pa rin ng 14 days quarantine. Hanggang ngayon po, yun pa rin ang pinapractice namin. Kasi karamihan pa rin sa mga kliyente namin, lalo na yung mga minor de edad, hindi pa sila natuturukan ng anti-COVID-19. Continuation po ng aming program sa medical services, because of the pandemic, no, nag-provide ng face mask, face shield, syempre yung implementation ng strict minimum health protocol, and nagkaroon din kami ng radiating dentist, no, to ensure naman yung oral health ng aming mga residente. And dahil naka-contain kami dito sa center, palagi may mga physical wellness activities, may mga pasumba rin, may mga pa-judo karate, yung mga exercise in the morning, kasi naniniwala ang aming medical service na isa yon sa pwede namin ma-provide para lumakas ang kanilang resistensya. Number 4, yung home life service po ng center. Ang amin pong mga kasama dito, yung tinatawag naming mga house parents. So sila po yung nagpo-provide ng home care at saka housekeeping. Sila po yung nagtitrain sa aming mga residente ng mga gawaing bahay, pagluluto, paglalaba, paglilinis. So para pag uwi nila sa kanila, meron silang ganitong skill and prepared sila for the reintegration. So continuous naman po, no, yung home life services. Pero this pandemic, we ensure, no, we try to ensure na binibigyan namin sila ng nutritious food. Sa center po namin, we give them breakfast, lunch, dinner, and meron ding AM and PM snack. So ibig sabihin sa maghapon, 5 beses kumakain yung aming mga residente, and it is all funded by the national government. Sige. Number 5, ito po yung isa sa pinaka-naapektuhan talaga. Kasi yung aming legal services, most of our residents ay may mga filed case po. So alam natin na ating mga regional trial courts ay nagsara din during the pandemic. So ano yung epekto nito? Siyempre pag nagsara, walang schedule ng hearings. No, isa kasi yun sa reason na pag-stay nila dito. Minsan nagiging hamper din ito sa pag-uwi nila sa pamilya, kasi ang gusto sana namin hangga't maaari bago sila umuwi ay nakapag-testify na sila para wala na silang iisipin, no, pag sila ay umuwi sa kanila. Kaya lang dahil sa mga delays, napoprolong din yung pag-stay nila dito sa shelter. That is why we also adopted, no, buti na lang itong DOJ ay nag-issue ng guidelines na mag-conduct ng video conferencing of court hearings. So as of today, ang amin pong court hearings ay through video conferencing. So kahit papaano, umiipod-ipod na yung aming mga cases ngayon, no? Nakakapag-testify na rin sila kahit nandito sila sa shelter. Number 6 po yung educational services. Ito yung provision namin ng opportunity to continue the schooling, kasi ito po ay isa sa mga basic rights, no, ng mga kabataan and syempre ng ating mga women din. Naapektuhan to dahil nagsara din yung ating mga schools, no, kaya nag-adapt din kami doon sa modular and online education. Pero pag nag-uusap kami ng aming team members, siguro itong pandemic, naging way din siya, isa sa mga naging, I don't know kung maganda no, na epekto pagdating sa educational services. Kasi I am very proud to say na during the pandemic, 100% po yung enrollment rate namin doon sa mga school age residents. No, nakakatuwa rin siya na epekto kasi pwede pala yun kasi in the previous, yung educational services, of course, yung formal schooling tsaka yung ALS. No, meaning, hindi lahat ng aming kliyente pwedeng bigyan ng ganitong serbisyo. Kasi pagka sa formal schooling, ang ibig sabihin yan, lalabas sila ng center. No? And may trust issue kasi doon. Hindi pwedeng, for example, ako na-admit ako ng December, papasok agad ako sa school dito ng January or February. Of course, hindi pwedeng gawin yon kasi kailangan pa namin siyang i-observe kasi baka pag pinayagan namin siyang lumabas ng center ay tumakas siya kasi may mga ganong kaso, no? And isa pa, hindi rin safe sa kanya kasi malay natin baka nasa paligid lang, no? Yung ng abuso sa kanya or may inaabangan na siya sa labas. So, nung kinumpare namin yung data ng educational services namin, before the pandemic, mga 30 to 40% or mas mababa pa yung aming enrollment rate. Pero ngayong pandemic, because of modular and online education, 100% yung aming enrollment rate. That is why Arda Myla, kung I know na naririnig ako ni Arda Myla, sumulat kami sa regional office, no, kay sa aming regional director na sana tulungan kaming ilabi sa DepEd na since 2 years na namin ginagawa ang modular and online education, baka pwede kaming payagan na ituloy-tuloy namin ito para lang dito sa shelter. Kasi natutuwa ako na 100% talaga sa mga kliyente ay nag-aaral. At least hindi nasasayang yung pagstay. Kasi pwede naman pala yun. No, inaantay ko lang po yung response ng aming regional director. Pero we are planning na to have a meeting with the superintendent of a nearby school, particularly the Rosario National High School and the Rosario East Central School. Kung ano ba yung masasabi nila sa aming proposal. Kung mangangailangan sila ng face-to-face, at least once a week, sila yung papupuntahin namin dito sa shelter. So yun yung parang nakikita na namin na magandang practice sana. And sana hindi lang siya sa Regional Haven for Women and Girls, sana ma-adapt din siya ng ibang mga shelter. Of course, maganda talaga yung face-to-face or maganda yung nag-a-attend sila ng school because of socialization. Pero may sitwasyon kasi sila na hindi katulad ng iba na nasa school. So, we are waiting for the response of the regional office doon sa aming concern na yon. Sige, next po, isa sa mga programa din, of course, yung aming psycho-spiritual services, na apektuhan din po ito kasi bawal niya, no? Hindi pa kami tumatanggap ng makabisita. Pero we adopted the virtual mass, tuloy pa rin yung prayer ng Angelus, then yung mga yung 6 o'clock prayers nila, and yung prayer ng before and after meal, and we tap volunteers, no, from Missionary Family of Christ na mag-conduct ng at least once a week virtual spiritual session. Kasi before, sila ay pumupunta dito sa amin, no? Talagang once a week, every Wednesday, pumupunta sila for a fellowship. Pero dahil pandemic, so virtual na rin namin ginagawa ito. Next service ay yung livelihood po. Etong livelihood ay yung provision ng mga trainings, skills training para sa ating mga kababaihan. Pero during the pandemic, ang nangyari ay ginagamit na lang namin sa ngayon, no, yung mga natirang materyales. No? I am very proud to say pa rin na kahit pandemic, nakakapag-produce pa rin kami ng mga dishwashing liquid, mga basahan, at yung mga pananahe. Yes, meron po kaming mga produkto at gawa ng aming mga kliyente at ito po ay aming binibenta. Then part of that ay binibigay po namin sa kanila para pag uwi nila meron silang kaunting baon, no, pag uwi sa kanila. And we also introduce to them the urban gardening. Next po na service na binibigay natin sa kliyente ay yung job placement. Ito po yung mga ina-assess namin yung isang women, at least women po siya, no, na pag may kakayahan siya at kagustuhan na makapagtrabaho habang nandito sa center kasi maaaring hindi pa siya pwedeng umuwi sa kanila or meron pa kaming may mga inaantay pa, may mga dapat pang ayusin sa kanyang kaso. So, dahil gusto niyang magtrabaho at meron siyang kakayahan, binibigyan namin sila ng opportunity. Pero dito pa rin sila umuwi sa center sa hapon or sa gabi. No? And ito namang aming isang nagtatrabahong women, isa siyang sales assistant dito lang sa malapit sa amin. And siya naman po ay may vaccine na rin ng COVID-19 so hindi na kami nagwo-worry kahit siya ay may nakakasalamuha. And number 10, yung aming advocacy activities. Isa po ito sa mga programa at serbisyo din ng center. Tuloy pa rin yung pag-conduct namin ng kagaya nito, no? Yung Women's Month, Children's Month, and VOW activities, mga gender and development training, the first aid, virtual earthquake drill, and a lot more. No? So lahat ng mga advocacy activities pagdating sa karapatan ng kababaihan at mga kabataan, lutong-luto po dyan ang aming mga residente. Kasi ang aim po namin ay kung lumabas man sila dito sa center, sana ay hindi na maulit kung ano yung nangyari sa kanila. And lagi na nga namin sinasabi sa kanila, pag umuwi sila, ayaw na namin kayong makita uli dito. So ang ibig sabihin namin nun, ayaw namin silang ma-admit uli sa ganitong klaseng shelter. Kung makita man namin sila, sana sila ay successful na, isa na sa nagsasalita o nag-a-advocate, no, ng women's right. Okay. Hindi lang po ang center at ang mga kliyente namin, ang residente, ang nag-adjust, no, during the pandemic, even yung aming mga staff. No, isa po sa mga challenges ng mga staff namin, syempre yung mental health. Kasi uuwi kami, lalabas, papasok dito, then natatakot kasi yung iba sa amin nagta-transport lang din, no? Gumagamit lang din ng public transportation. So, ang daming bumabagabag, yung iba gusto, kailangan pa ba nila yung trabaho or they would rather stay at home kasi yun yung turo ng gobyerno, no? Stay at home. Pero ano yung mga ways forward o ano yung mga ginawa namin para maibsan yung ganung takot? No, nagkakandak ang center through the regional office and other partners ng mga virtual stress debriefing and mental health webinar in order to cope up from that stresses. No, somehow naman, yung ratio ng aming staff during the pandemic hanggang ngayon, yung pa rin yung ratio ng aming staff. Wala namang nabawasan. So number 2, of course, yung worries ng mga staff, no, na baka mahawaan kami ng virus. Kaya ang ginawa namin, we coordinate with the regional, the rural health unit, and they provided us the vaccine. So lahat po ng 13 staff ng center, including the security guard, ay fully vaccinated na. Actually, yung RHU napaka-accommodating nila, no, kasi sinama nila kami dun sa first dose, halos kasabay namin ang mga health workers dito sa amin sa Rosario, Batangas. Our first dose was at I think March 25, no? Umusbong yung pandemic March 15. So, privilege yun sa amin na mga taga-center. Of course, we also adopted the work from home scheme dito sa mga admin staff, and may regular disinfection ng center through the RHU and the MDRRMO. Yung paglaganap ng pandemic, hindi kami ready financially, no? Kasi kami dito sa center, nakaplat na yung work and financial plan o yung budgetary needs namin for the year. Of course, wala dong PPE kasi nobody anticipated na dadating ang coronavirus. So, nung nangailangan kami ng alcohol, ng face mask, hindi namin alam kung saan kami kukuha. No? Kasi lahat ng pera namin o ng center ay meron ng nakaalat kung ano yung dapat namin bilhin. So, magaling na lang, no, ang aming regional office ay nag-provide, no, to the rescue sa amin, sa mga staff and sa mga residents. Nagpadala agad sila ng support, ng PPEs para sa mga staff and sa mga residente. No, may face mask, may alcohol, and hanggang ngayon nakaka-receive kami ng mga ganitong klaseng suporta from the regional office. And next challenge is, unfortunately, meron kaming 3 staff dito sa center na nag-positive sa COVID, no? Kasama na ako doon, no? Ibig sabihin ako ay COVID-19 survivor din. Pero mahirap pala talaga, no, pag naapektuhan ka ng COVID-19, even the family maaapektuhan din. Then, it's good na may mga assistance o financial assistance din na pinoprovide sa mga staff. So, yun po ang mga challenges sa mga workforce o sa mga staff ng center. So, I think this is my last slide. Hearing those challenges, hearing those initiative and responses, ito po yung na-collate namin na recommendation and call for action. Siguro, ang Taguig City University can also be part, no, sana dito sa aming call for action para matulungan nyo din kami or ang community or ang government kung paano natin mas matutugunan ng maayos yung pangangailangan ng ating vulnerable sectors. Number 1, ang isang recommendation and call for action. We should launch a wireless or electronic services using a social media platform to the VAUSI incident in their places. So I think ito ay napapanahon na talaga. Exclusive wireless and electronic service for the VAUSI. Parang isang pindot lang, no? Isang tawag lang, maa-access na agad, no, ng VAUSI o ng survivors natin yung tulong na kailangan nila. Hindi kagaya ngayon na, of course, iilan lang ang pwede eh. Iilan lang yung may kakayahan na makapunta agad sa mga government agency para sa tulong. Pero with this strategy and platform, palagay ko mas mabilis, no, yung access ng ating mga survivors para sa mga tulong ng ahensya ng gobyerno. And number 2 ay yung i-ensure yung functionality ng barangay council for the protection of women and children. So, ang alam ko, meron tayong mga LGU participants and familiar kayo sa barangay council for the protection of women. Meron din tayong mga VAUSI desk officer, yung mga LCAT VAUSI natin, no? So, please ensure natin yung functionality nila na alam nila ang kanilang role and functions, especially during this pandemic. Siguro, I would suggest na balikan nila yung mga cases nila before the pandemic and during the pandemic, and wag na silang bigyan ng other task, no, in response to the COVID-19, but mas i-focus na lang nila for the meantime yung kanilang oras, no, sa pagmo-monitor. Kasi nakita nga, di ba, kanina sa research, halos lahat ng barangay officials, lahat ng mga government employees, government agencies, nakafocus na lang sa pandemic. Kaya nawala na sila ng time to monitor these VAUSI survivors. Sige, next po ang isa naming call for action. I don't know kung meron tayong participants na from regional trial courts or lawyers. So, try to consider the implementation of RA number 8493 or the speedy trial of all criminal cases before the regional trial court. Actually, matagal na po itong batas na ito, no? There is a term na speedy trial for the criminal cases. And itong vow and yung itong trafficking, kasama siya sa mga criminal cases. Pero ang sabi nga ng ating mga judges and prosecutors, sa dami ng mga nakafile na case, ang hirap, no? Ang hirap daw pagalawin itong batas na to o yung speedy trial. No? Although nagkaroon ng strategy before na come up each municipality or each city ng family court kung saan sila yung mag-handle ng mga ganitong kasing cases o yung domestic violence cases. Pero sa ngayon, unfortunately, parang hindi pa rin ganun kadami yung family courts natin. So therefore, naihahalo pa rin, no, yung mga cases natin, yung mga VAUSI cases, yung mga human trafficking cases, yung mga sexual exploitation cases, doon sa mga regular cases na hinahandle ng court. There are times nga na ang dami-dami nila, no, nakikitaan na lang sila doon, no, nawawala na yung privacy, no, ng ating mga survivors during the court hearings. More research about the VAUSI, siguro I will call the attention of mga researchers natin from the Taguig City University. Siguro isa ito sa magandang isang idea for the research. No? We need more research, we need more accurate data. And siguro sa panahon din ngayon, kailangan na rin nating makita yung sitwasyon ng women in detention. Kasi madalas nakikita lang, no, mas napapansin yung mga survivors, no, women and children. Pero may mga kababaihan din tayo na nakakulong. No, isa rin siguro yun sa pwedeng silipin, balikan yung kalagayan ng mga women in detention. And last po ay yung tighten the policy on cyberbullying among women and children. Po. Ito ay kailangan din talaga. And sa school, alam ko ang mga faculty, ang mga teachers, kayo ay pro naman sa cyberbaiting, no, ng mga estudyante. Oo, uso na ngayon yun, yung cyberbaiting, yung aasarin kayo ng estudyante nyo hanggang sa magalit kayo, then bibidyohan yung the way you manifest the violent reaction or behavior, then ipopost nila, no, sa mga social media platforms. So sana nga, no, ma-tighten natin yung policy on cyberbullying and cyberbaiting. Opo. And that's end my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Leah, for that very enlightening, inspiring, and motivating topic for imparting to us the laws, both local and international, on the protection of women's and children's right and protection. Also, on many programs of the government to address the real status of the survivors and all affected women and children, especially this pandemic. At this point, we will now have our open forum for your questions. And to moderate our open forum, may we call in Ms. Geraldine Soriano.
Hello, good afternoon. We're near to our lunch now, but at this point, I really want to congratulate and commend our brilliant speaker, Ms. Leah Perez, for a very broad information, yet very comprehensive, excellent presentation on our topic, violence against women and children, the shadow pandemic. Everybody, please join me virtually applaud our speaker, Ms. Leah Perez. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one thing more, we would like to commend our speaker for a very dedicated job being done in their institution, Regional Haven for Women and Children. napakaganda po, napaka-holistic yung mga services na binibigay nyo sa ating mga survivors. At sana patuloy na masuportahan ng ating gobyerno itong inyong institution para sa ganon ay tuluyan na rin mawala ang ating BAUC at lalong-lalo na ngayong pandemic. So with the topic, the shadow pandemic, talagang nangyayari ito. But our speaker presented the statistics that this 2020 and even this 2021 from the other webinars I have attended, bumababa talaga yung cases. But hindi talaga yun yung tamang nangyayari because nga it's pandemic, we are in quarantine, there are a lot of factors na hindi po natin nakukuha yung tamang mga bilang. So sa pagkakataon na nagbigay pa rin ng magagandang research, yung Miriam na present ng ating speaker. So napakaganda at naliwanagan tayo. We really have listened to the responses and initiatives being done by our government, several institutions to respond on this violence against women and children during this COVID-19 pandemic. So congratulations po, ma'am. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we would like also to thank you for actively listening. Yeah, napakaganda po. So we can still welcome your questions just to have clarifications. If you have any more questions to raise, please don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat box. So meron po ba tayong mga questions? Mukhang okay. While waiting for others to raise their questions, Ma'am Leia, can I have the permission to ask the first question na lang? Okay, so I really listened to your presentation and marami po akong natutunan. From the start of our webinar, dami na nating natutunan, the history, the very brave sharing of our dean. So I'm sure lahat na empower nito. And then the issues, challenges, lahat na po ng present ng ating speaker. And one thing na nag-struck sa akin is amidst the collaborations between agencies, global man, national, marami pa rin tayong cases ng violence na against women and children or even gender-based violence. So ma'am, my question is, what do you think is the greatest factor or contributor to this unending pandemic din dito sa BAUC?
Yes, thank you for that wonderful question. Oo. Maganda yung tanong ni ma'am, no? Bakit ang dami ng programa, ang dami ng batas, no? Yun yung sinasabi namin, ang dami ng batas na about women and children. Pero bakit may mga data pa rin? May mga cases pa rin tayo. Siguro, ang isang question is, first, are this law is really implemented? Talaga bang na-apply o na-i-implement yung provisions and punishment doon sa law? Kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa law. Kasi pagkakausapin niyo po yung mga survivors, especially yung mga domestic violence cases natin, no, ang isa nilang sinasabi is ang tagal ng proseso, no, ang tagal ng court hearings, and paano na yung pangkabuhayan namin kung magtatagal kami sa center. Yun yung yung mga doubts nila eh. Kaya minsan kahit gusto nilang mag-file ng case, naapektuhan ng mga ganung klaseng issues, no. So syempre may domino effect yan, no. Kapag ako isang survivor, then may nakausap akong isang survivor, malamang i-share ko yung ganung agoniya, the same agony. Ang tagal naman ng proseso, no? Yung kaso ko umabot ng 3 taon. Hindi naman pwedeng huminto yung buhay namin habang pina-file yung case, no? So siguro yun yung isang yung ayoko mang sabihin yung slow judicial process, pero may ganon tayo yung medyo sa dami nga yata ng mga cases na hinahandle ng Pilipinas, hindi natin monitor kung yung ganitong mga klase ng issue. Plus, siguro, kailangan na nating i-reach yung GIDA areas natin, no? Yung geographically isolated and disadvantaged area. Baka maaari hindi sila inaabot ng advocacy. No? For example, yung malalayong lugar natin sa Mindanao, no? Marami tayo dyan, may mga island areas din tayo. Naaabot ba sila ng mga advokasya? Tapos baka mamaya ang layo din ng lugar nila doon sa korte or doon sa agency na paghihingian ng tulong. So I would rather not waste my time. Parang ganun yun po yung talagang sinasabi ng aming mga survivor. Plus, ito pa yung isang mahirap, no? Ang isang issue. Ang isang survivor kasi humingi ng tulong, no, sa isang government agency. Alam niyo yung may web effect, pumunta ka sa doktor, pumunta ka sa pulis, pumunta ka sa barangay. Parang ang dami kong pupuntahan, ang dami kong kailangan puntahan para makahingi ng tulong. Paano kung wala akong pamasahe? And wala akong kakilala. So, ang hirap. Kaya ang ending nun, hindi na lang ako magfa-file. No, yung isa po yun sa mga major issues.
Yes.
Although meron pong naging isang service, no, isang strategy doon, yung sinasabing one-stop shop. No, nagkaroon din ng one-stop shop para sa ating mga survivors. So nandun na lahat, yung kapulisan, yung social worker, kung mas maganda kung may prosecutors na. Doon sa isang venue lang, matutugunan na yung pangangailangan. Pero I don't know kung paano siya na-implement ng mas maayos. Palagay ko mukhang hindi kasi ngayon per agency pa rin yung punta ng biktima. So yun po, Ma'am Geraldine.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that answer. Yes, I would agree. Kaya nga dun sa call to action talaga is yung speedy trial of all criminal cases before the RTC. So tama, yun yung implementation ng RA 8493. Dapat namo-monitor at talagang well implemented siya talaga. So for the other questions, let me check the chat box. Eto ma'am, I'll give you one question. When aware of a domestic abuse, what is the recommended action to help the victim without alarming the abuse? The abuser, I should say.
Without alarming. Siguro depende sa abuser. Kasi kapag domestic violence yan, asawa ko yan, no, alam niyo naman yung yung physical structure ng household natin ngayon, no? One room affair karamihan sa ating mga pamilya, no? Actually ang dapat talagang sa technical na pagre-rescue ng mga survivors ay pupunta siya sa kung saan yung pinakamalapit na BAUC desk o yung barangay, no? Unfortunately, I don't know kung may mga taga-LGU tayo, no? Medyo bubusina ako. Of course, hindi lahat ng LGU. Maraming LGU na responsive. But there are LGUs na sinasabi na may BAUC desk officer sila sa each barangay. Pero pagpunta doon ng survivor, desk lang yung nakikita nila, walang BAUC desk officer. No, so yun yung nakakalungkot. Imagine ninyo ilang ilog, ilang bundok ang nilakad ng survivor. Tapos pagpunta niya sa barangay, walang officer, desk lang ang nandoon. No, so kung tayo yung nasa kalagayan niya, uuwi na lang siguro ako. Yung ganun. No, yun yung isang napakahirap. Pero dapat talaga laging may nakaantabay na BAUC desk officer. So, isa po sa recommendation talaga natin is to ensure the functionality of LCAT BAUC to each local government units. Kasi sila po yung agaran No, kasi yung mga pulis, nasa bayan yan usually, hindi naman yan mag-oopisina sa sa tabi ng ilog, 'di ba? Usually sa bayan. So sino yung mas accessible? Dapat yun ang palakasin natin. Yung mas accessible sa mga survivor. At yun yung mga barangay council, barangay committees. Yun po.
True, very important talaga yung local capacity building kasi mahirap nga naman talaga yung mga nasa remote areas. Thank you very much, ma'am. This will be the last question kasi medyo late na po tayo. We are very thankful for all your questions. Welcome po lahat yan. We will try our best to address this. Maybe we can have all these questions taken by our technical team para ma-address po natin sa ating speaker. So, can we have the last question? Ito po, having said all those different legal basis, plans, programs, and activities to prevent emergence of VAUSI cases nationwide, regardless of the situation, what do you think is the effectivity or functionality rate of those PPAs created by the LGU, specifically the CSWD offices, based on the response on the survivor in different regions? O, yan po. Yan po yung katanungan.
Medyo mahirap sagutin. Pwede ba
Malawak.
i-chat ko na lang?
Okay.
Hindi kasi, hindi. Kidding aside, no, meron tayong mga participants from the LGU. Siguro, sa kanila ko ibabato na lang yung tanong. And hindi naman nila kailangan sagutin outright, no? Hearing those gaps, challenges, sila, paano nila i-rate yung sarili nilang agency or yung mga LGUs natin in response to the COVID, to the VAUSI cases natin during the COVID-19. Parang I'm not in the right position to
I
to
understand.
assess them, no? Pero alam ko na maraming LGU na responsive, especially yung mga nakaloop natin ngayong mga participants. Most of them ay kilala ko and I work with them then. So alam kong nagre-respond sila. Pero I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, I can see Ma'am Doc Myla raising her hand. Doc Myla, can you have the floor? Do you have any comments, additional information? Doc Myla, go ahead.
Hi, Arda Myla.
Arda Myla
Hello,
pala.
hello, Leia.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Leia. Thank you also, Geraldine. Leia, thank you for your presentation. You know, Leia is one of our best managers, no, case managers, no, when it comes to VAUSI cases, and this made her well versed on the topic. So may I just add to some of the questions and some of the answers of Leia. So the cases of VAUSI are expected to rise, no, due to restrictions on mobility. Ang tanong kanina is, ang dami ng programa, yet ang dami pa rin cases. Most especially, no, during the community lockdowns, kung mapapansin niyo, nawala ng trabaho ang karamihan ng ating mga kababayan. In fact, it is a very high effect, no, in women because they assume the roles of home management. So the continued reinforcement of community quarantine puts women and children at greater risk of experience of violence. But you may be wondering, no, bakit ang trend? Bakit pababa, declining trend yung VAUSI cases reported in our institutions, the barangay, the PNP, and of course DSWD. So why low admission and also low reporting statistics on VAUSI? So there was a study presented yesterday in a research colloquium where I joined. No? It confirms that the statistics of reported VAUSI cases is really underreported due to the following. One is limited access to online platforms to report. You might be wondering, in this digital age, what is causing the inability to report? No? Isang click mo lang actually, makakapag-report ka na. According to the study, fear is really a big factor, and I am noting in the chat box, no, bakit hindi lahat ng mga VAUSI cases nagpo-pursue, no, na magkaroon ng legal cases. It's because of the fear factor. That's a very big factor. If you are going to ask our barangay officials, our partners in the implementation of VAU in the local level, the availment of the barangay protection order is also low. So it's embedded in the culture of our society, no, na when you drag in the reputation of the family or the father of your children, it's a big thing, no? So they fear that the perpetrator, who is a person very close to the household and to the heart of the survivor, meaning there is an emotional attachment to the person causing the abuse, and the fear of being abused again because of the act of reporting is there. And it was confirmed by the research presented by the Miriam College yesterday. So we have the project Lila. This is a hotline for the abused women and children to report. So it's a mechanism in order to access services of the government. Although nakita niyo po doon sa presentation ni Leia na the access is really affected. And to our students who are listening right now, especially my students, and they are advised not to take note of some policy issues, and also analyzed on some missing link, no, when it comes to policies in place. You will be noting that there are barriers now in the access of services. So another reason is that the priority of the responders during the community lockdown, which started in 2020, is really on COVID-19 response. So medyo VAUSI cases was a bit set aside. So that's the reason why medyo underreported yung mga statistics na ipinapakita natin. And I think as a public administrator, we have to do something about it. Alam natin that COVID-19 really hit us and overwhelmed the response capacity of the government. But there is this shadow pandemic that we have also to address in order that our women and children, and that includes us, no, to be protected even in times of pandemic. So again, thank you, Leia, and thank you to all our participants for your interest, no, on the topic. That's all, Geraldine. Thank you.
Very well said, Doc Myla, Arda Myla. Yes, so everyone, we are really grateful for today because punong-puno po tayo ng information. But this should just be the beginning. Our mission as citizens or future administrators is to monitor the implementation of these many programs, many RAs, na sa susunod po na tayo ay magkita-kita mulit ay wala na, pababa na yung cases katulad ng COVID-19. So we are hopeful for this. So thank you very much again to our very brilliant speaker, Ms. Leia Perez, and to our Arda. And everybody, thank you very much for your active participation. So hanggang ngayon po ay nandiyan pa rin kayo. So back, hindi ko na patatagalin, back to our MC, Ms. Judy Ann.
Ma'am Geraldine, can I share?
Yes po. Okay.
Nag-request lang ako ng let us support the House Bill 4888. No, ito yung amendment natin ng 9262. House Bill pa lang siya. So ang highlight ng bill na to ay yung definition ng vow yung women doon, papalitan na ng partner. So, VAPC.
Partner.
Kasi naglalabi din na hindi lang daw women ang nangangailangan ng ganitong batas. So yung partner doon by definition ay kasama na ang men and LGBTQI+. So let us support the bill. Thank you.
Rest assured. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, back to Miss Judy Ann. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Perez, Ma'am Geraldine. So we are pretty sure our participants are learning a lot from your presentation and from the discussion. Thank you also to all who typed in their questions in the chat box. At this juncture, we would like to award the Certificate of Appreciation and Memento to our resource speaker. May we request Mr. John Carl Jimenez to read the content of the certificate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am John Carl Jimenez, an MPA student of Taguig City University. I am proud and blessed to present the Certificate of Appreciation in behalf of Taguig City University Graduate School of Master in Public Administration. The Certificate of Appreciation reads as follows. Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Ms. Leia M. Perez, for imparting her valuable insights, experiences, and inspirations as a guest speaker during the webinar entitled Violence Against Women and Children, the Shadow Pandemic, with the theme Responding to the Needs, Taking Initiatives, a way to address violence against women and children amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, given this 27th day of November 2021, signed by Dr. Lawrence M. Vicencio, Associate Professor 3, the head of the Webinar Committee for Academic Year 2021. Also signed by Dr. Amalia Collarin Rosales, Vice President for Academic Affairs and the Dean of Graduate School of Taguig City University. And lastly, by Dr. Jaime M. Jimenez, OIC for the Office of the President, Vice President for Administration of the Taguig City University.
Thank you, Sir John. And we will now have a pictorial with Miss Leia Perez. Kindly open your cameras, please, and we will take pictures per panel. Sir Jasper, sir.
Okay. Kindly turn on your camera na lang po so we can start our capturing your pictures. For the first panel po, smile po. Okay, done. Next panel po. Yan. Oh, talagang nag-participate yung iba. Open na open yung cameras. Thank you po ha. And 1, 2, 3, smile po. Okay, tingin lang po sa camera. Okay, next panel po, third po. 1, 2, 3, smile po. Yan, sige po. Thank you po. Fourth panel po. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Nice. Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jasper. Every activity comes to an end. And to give us the closing remarks, may we call in Dr. Lawrence M. Vicencio, Associate Professor 3.
Nakamute ka, Doc.
Doc, nakamute po kayo.
Thank you, Ms. Judy Ann. To our able speaker, Ms. Leia M. Perez from the Regional Haven for Women, Municipality of Taysan, Batangas. To our Dean of the Graduate School, the Vice President for Academics, Dr. Amelia C. Rosales, and to our Executive Vice President, Dr. Juan C. Berrion, to our OIC and concurrent Vice President for Administration, TCU, Dr. Jaime M. Perez, and to our TCU officials, to our Taguig City government officials, DSWD colleagues and officials, MPA faculty members, TCU faculty and teaching and non-teaching staff, to our Taguig City government employees, our dear students and participants, a pleasant good morning. In behalf of the TCU and GS officials and the MPA program, we'd like to thank our speaker, Ms. Perez, for being part of this awareness and enlightenment on the rights and privileges of our women and children. We have been introduced to the basic and primary laws we need to know and got shed of light for those areas we need to verify. We are blessed from the welcome remarks shared by Dr. Birion and the inspirational message and insights given by Dr. Rosales. We are given an overview in advance of what the webinar topic is all about. Their knowledge and experiences set the tone for today's event. Today's topic on violence against women and children, the shadow pandemic, has once again made us realize of the current situation we are facing and still been challenging at present. We are in a pandemic, and I would like to agree with our speaker that today's crisis has gave rise to the increasing incidence of violence in any form, as the cause of pandemic is aggravated by the hunger and stress experienced by the members of each family at their homes. According to the Social Weather Station survey in their 2020 survey, the stress level of every Filipino has increased, reaching to 86% as caused by the COVID-19 crisis or pandemic. The 58% of the respondents found that they experienced great stress because of the pandemic. The number rose from 51% in July last year. Based also on the survey, the great stress was experienced by Filipino families who experienced involuntary hunger in the past 3 months, as their stresses were affected by the hunger they felt during the lockdown. This is somehow alarming, but through the government programs and initiatives, we can still combat the increasing statistics on violence experienced by women and children. Our DSWD, with the help of the LGUs, non-government organizations, volunteer groups, and even private individuals can work hand in hand to sustain our battle to any kind of or act of violence to the women and the children. Our women, children, and the citizens whom can be involved or been part of any wrongdoings and abuses must not put themselves on silence. There are various platforms that you can run to, like na digital na tayo, even with or without pandemic. I think the key is love, respect, and care. We need to love women and children as how we love our loved ones, our mother, our sister, our wife. We must show them respect at all times, regardless of physical appearance, religion, culture, or race. And we need to care for women and children, as this is also our way of helping others, helping our country and the government as well. As men, man of the house, father, ama or tatay, big brother or kuya to our siblings, lolo or grandpa to our apos or grandchildren, manong or lakay to others. We must be a source of women's strength and happiness and protector of our children, and not a cause of their fears, discomforts, and abuses. We must be their guardians against any form or act of violence. I hope everyone has gained lessons on the insights and wisdom shared by our speaker today. This event will not be possible without the hard works of the men and women behind. To Dr. Rosales, Dr. Birion, and Dr. Jimenez for the support and approval, and even for the City of Government of Taguig, thank you very much. I would like also to thank and give due credits to the MPA Webinar Steering Committee from our MPA students led by Ms. Edna Linda Cortez and Mr. Anton Rivas, and the rest of the group, the technical, program in charge, Q&A, you know who you are, thank you. Let's give them a warm of virtual applause. Thank you. Also, to my webinar committee members and the colleagues, Dr. Paulino Ayang-Ang and Dr. Emil Timoteo, to Dr. Myla Gatchalian for assisting us and providing us the speaker for this morning's activity, And to the rest of the MPA faculty and our MPA Secretary, Ms. Jerain Horada, thank you very much po. To our beloved Taguig City University, happy 15th Foundation Day. Again, thank you and have a great day. Keep safe, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Vicencio, sir, for that full of wisdom and inspiring message. We are inviting all attendees to participate in the TCU Goes Orange Selfie campaign. #Orange the World, #End Violence Now. All you have to do is take a selfie, post your selfie, and make sure you use the hashtags Orange the World, #End Violence Now, and #Taguig City University. So you will have a chance to win a prize. May I remind everyone to please public your selfie post. Thank you. May we remind everyone to please accomplish their evaluation form. The link will be shown on your screen. And once you're done, the certificates will be sent to your respective email address. Thank you everyone for joining us. Let us give a round of applause for all our MPA lecturers, faculty members, the steering committee, and organizers of this webinar. And also, we would like to give our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to our guest speaker, ma'am, for this very interesting discussion this morning. And that ends our program. In behalf of the TCU-MPA students, this is Judy Sagon. See you on December 4 for the last event of the TCU-MPA webinar series.